Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, The Lead to Appointment Show with Joe Webb. I'm Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. DealerOn was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2012, and DealerOn customers were winners of the Spring and Fall 2012 Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards, including the all-important overall winner. DealerOn is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry offering a money-back lead guarantee program. Oh, that's right. I said a money-back lead guarantee program. So if your website company isn't guaranteeing you leads, well, then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have a fantastic show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Joe Webb as our presenter today. Joe Webb is the founder of Dealer Knows Consulting, an automotive internet sales training firm specializing in assisting dealers with the advancement of their online efforts through hands-on, on-site, and virtual consulting. Joe has been called the funniest guy in the car business and has consulted nationwide, showing dealerships success by instilling proven internet marketing practices. As a Chicago guy with a history of true dealership retail success, his primary goal, as he always states, is to better the culture of car sales. Joe Webb also speaks at NADA and NCM 20 groups, digital summits, and state dealer associations on a myriad of topics facing automotive dealers today. Joe Webb can be reached at joe@dealerknows.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we're going to respond by email to you later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And I got to let you guys all know this. Thank you for coming early, because guess what? Our good friends at Dealer Knows Consulting are offering up a great prize for one lucky attendee. What is it? It's a comprehensive contact assessment and 1-hour training, which Joe says is valued at $500 to $1 million. But I got to tell you, after hearing all that he's going to do, I think it sounds downright priceless if you ask me. They will mystery shop your dealership and evaluate your website, your emails, and your phone elements. Then Joe Webb is going to review the results and give you a private 1-hour virtual dealer training session with your internet team. All you have to do is stay tuned and answer a simple question towards the end of the webinar. The first one to write in the correct response wins this awesome prize. Also, there's going to be a short survey after the conclusion of today's webinar, because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. And today we're going to randomly select some winners from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started with the Lead to Appointment Show with none other than Joe Webb himself. Joe Webb, how are you today, my friend?
Good, and yourself?
Doing great. I can't even say hi to you without laughing. You're just such a ray of sunshine. So we're so pleased to have you here. And I'm very excited about this Lead to Appointment Show, as I know all of our people in webinar land are. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Lead to appointments. So just to discuss briefly, yes, my name is Joe Webb, and I apologize you had to listen to the long intro about myself. That's why I flipped this slide quick, because it could have speeded up, because I hate hearing about myself. And within the next 40 minutes or so, you'll hate hearing from me, too. One of the things that I've always found to be something that I was successful at was what to do from the time a lead arrives in your CRM to the time it actually becomes a showed appointment in the store. And what I realized is a lot of a game, and you're going to have to bear with me because of the amount of callers online, it is insanely slow sort of whipping through these slides. See, it takes like a triple click. Got my good friend Jerry Thibault there. But really, handling leads, managing leads, is very much a game in between the consumer and the dealer. And those are the two teams. It's the consumer and the dealer. And the game is played both online, it's on the phone, It's done through chat, which I suppose could be done online as well. And rules are simple. One team, the consumer, submits a lead into the store or multiple stores, and the second team, the dealership, responds back, and the communication keeps developing until the dealership has built enough value in reasons to come into the dealership or for team one, the consumer, to purchase a car. And that's the simple game, and we all know what the game is. What I want to get into, though, is a lot of dealers are thinking internet sales is about actual online sales. And by no means should it be. I understand you can sell cars sight unseen online. It's just not the way that I believe enough consumers feel like that's how they want to do business. And it shows based on the average statistics of that 20% of customers, by and large, are emailing in ahead of time, and only 20% of customers are actually calling in ahead of time. 60% of your customers are still doing the research online, walking into the dealership with the information at the ready, and starting with the salesperson. So what I want to talk about are those 20% and 40% of customers that you actually have the ability to control, to make an impression on before they ever come in. Because as I said, a lot of dealers just think, okay, it's about selling a car through email, and it really shouldn't be. It should be about selling an appointment. And dealers are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, or if you're in a rural dealership, tens of dollars on attracting customers to your website and getting them to convert into leads. But what I always want to focus on, and what we always do focus on, Dealer Knows, is just how do you maximize the leads that you're already generating. And it's through just some more intuitive lead handling processes, really. Because there is a basic road to the sale that every single car salesperson has been taught. And the road to the sale is pretty simple. You have a meet and greet, it's a basic love connection with the customer. And then you go and you sit them down and perform a needs assessment, asking them what's my line. And then you're going to help them select the vehicle. And that's a very important part of the sales process. You're going to play the match game with a customer, and you have to give them a product presentation to show them everything about that vehicle. So you got to have some street smarts. And when you get back from that test drive, you got to give them a trade-in evaluation. And then eventually you're going to need to ask the $64,000 question, and that's ask for their business. You're going to go back and forth with pricing until the price is right, and then you're eventually going to make the sale. At the end, you're going to, don't laugh, Eliana. I actually had to search through histories of shows for this. And then you hope you have a sale of the century when that customer drives off the lot and it's not a Mini. But it takes you doing it consistently, day in and day out, those previous steps, if you actually want to be a survivor in the car business. And if you don't do it consistently, then you're the weakest link and you got to go. But if we all know what the road to the sale is, then why is it that the majority of interaction through email that we give customers are the exact same dealership to dealership? We mystery shop thousands of dealers every single year, and the main things we hear back in every single email are, still interested? Have you bought yet? Are you still in the market? Haven't heard from you in 2 weeks? And that's about it. That's like the only questions that people know to include in their emails. And you need to think, the easiest way I can explain it, you need to think that the online life of a lead still has a showroom road to the sale. It carries over. You can meet and greet a customer through virtual videos, through just showing them a photo of yourself. You can perform a needs analysis or a qualification by asking them questions about their purchase process. You can help them select the vehicle by sending them images of those vehicles. You can give them a product presentation with video walkarounds of vehicles. You can do a trade-in evaluation because half of you have Black Book Online or Kelley Blue Book or Get Auto Appraised already on your websites giving customers the value for your trade. So you can walk them through those tools and give them some semblance of a trade-in value. But then instead of asking for the business or the sale, you're just asking for the appointment. And instead of negotiating, you're confirming the appointment and getting the appointment in the door. But at the end of the day, email is about controlling the customer, or they're not a customer yet. A customer is somebody that steps onto your lot. They're a prospect. I don't like calling them a lead to their face or a prospect to their face, but that's what they are. A customer walks in front of you, and right now they're a prospect. But that doesn't mean they're less of a value. It just means that you have to do more to influence them to come into the store. So let's just talk about basic following up. A good majority, and from a big study we did, about 80% of all customers that we mystery shopped, all dealerships we mystery shopped, had an autoresponder. But unfortunately, it is the same worthless 1-minute autoresponder that goes out and has no value whatsoever for the customer. It just says something along the lines of, hello, this is ABC Motors. Please do not reply to this message. This is just an automatic confirmation receipt of email that we've received your lead, and we know that you've submitted a lead, and we'll get back to you within, a dozen hours. And something like that has no value to the customer. And let me ask you, if you purchased anything online, an Amazon order, anything, have you ever clicked submit and then stepped away from the computer and said, I wonder if they got that? No, you don't. So there's no need for an autoresponder for the most part, unless your autoresponder does one of two things. It needs to either elicit contact, so it needs to ask questions that aren't too early in the process to ask, but you can ask questions to customers, or you can build value in your dealership, in yourself, or in your process. So that's it. Either elicit contact or build value. If your autoresponders don't do that, turn it off, because they're worthless and they're just clogging up customers' inboxes. So think of that when putting together an autoresponder, and I urge you to mystery shop yourself. Some of you with certain CRM, ILM, OEM required websites automatically have autoresponders going out from you that you've never seen before, that are dumb. They don't include a signature. They don't say hello in the customer's first name. They include words like queries that are just so obviously computer generated that it serves no value for the customer. And what a customer wants to do, if they've taken the time to go to your website and they've clicked on a hot link button or reviewed your inventory and looked at 7 different vehicles before filling out the form fields and submitting an internet lead, you need to recognize that they need a personal response back prior to a worthless autoresponder. And also, I understand there's a big thing about time. A lot of people just want to put the customer on hold, but autoresponders pop in there. Now, I used to actually be less of a fan of stopping the clock, admittedly. I still believe that the quality of response far outweighs the time in which you send an email. That being said, engaging a customer earlier on has shown to be a true benefit. But just think about how you read your email. If the average customer is still submitting 3 to 4 leads out to dealerships, and those 3 to 4 dealerships are sending 1-minute autoresponders, and let's say because of the application of mobile devices, the average person can check their email every 5 minutes. Well, if you get back to a customer personally within 5 to 10 minutes, or you schedule an autoresponder with questions that looks personalized 3 or 4 minutes after the lead comes in, the average person, the average email inbox looks and reads their emails from top down. But as we all know, the top email in every inbox is the most recent one you've seen.
Right.
And that allows you to make the first impression. So I would urge you, if you've got autoresponders, schedule them out at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes after the lead comes in, rather than immediately or 1 minute. Because just sending a customer 3 or 4 paragraphs of information within 15 seconds, there's no way you can really have put that together in reality, and moreover, there's no value to the customer. So think of how you can do something short, sweet, in plain text, with no links, no multiple font sizes, no multiple fonts, no colors, any of that stuff, because the most important thing you can send to a customer is what gets through the spam filters into their inbox. So look at that first email, that autoresponder, being as plain text and simple and engaging as possible. Now, what I've always urged, and this is something that I've been doing for a long time, and my VP, Bill Plager, and how we originally even met and started talking and seeing eye to eye before he came aboard Dealer Knows, was the fact that we always believed in getting to know a prospect long before we ever connected with them. It's sort of like Match.com or the Newlywed Game, where you want to see if there's anything online that you can glean about the customer that will allow you to understand them better. So every single time a lead came in, I did it, and all my team members would go, and I urged them to try to, first of all, read the lead. That's the best thing I can say, is to start out, read the lead and see if there's anything you can go and gain from seeing the information that they submitted that will help you understand their purchase, or help you ask better questions, or help you build rapport when you call. So with that said, here's a few different examples, and we won't open up a poll yet. But if you look at this lead, think about what the information on this basic lead could tell you about the customer. So obviously they live in more likely a downtown area. Now, I was from Chicago. As I said, I recently moved down here to Florida just because, I hate Chicago has the highest taxes in the nation, highest gas prices in the nation, highest murder rate in the nation, and those are all really fun reasons to stay, but it gets really cold there too. So I decided to move down to Florida. So downtown Chicago, you understand, or to an extent, that buyer. And they want your website. So maybe they're a little more down funnel, that they're submitting a lead from your website. And it's 2:01 a.m. So they're either bored to tears and just looking for anybody to engage with them because they're lonely, or maybe they're a late shift. So those are all things to take into consideration. The name Terry McGooden, when I ask this of dealers, I always use this example, and they always say, well, he lives downtown, and he lives here. You don't know if Terry's a man or a woman, so you cannot, I'd never tell you to make that distinction anyway. But anything you can take away from this that'll help you understand them better, or say, thank you for visiting our website. Or you can say, if they're submitting a lead at 2 a.m., just say, if I had been up for 15 minutes longer, I probably would have been able to get back to your lead last night. Little things like that that personalize the process for the customer can really open up a better level of communication. The next one, Bill, looking at a 2013 Sienna, and they're trading in an 07 Corolla, let's say 111,000 miles. What can you learn just from reading the lead about this customer that will help you understand the buying cycle? Moreover, that will help you fashion a personal response. Well, one, obviously, they're stepping up from a small car or Corolla to a Sienna. So more than likely family, or they're growing a family, coming in the mix. That's a great question that you can ask when you get a customer on the phone. Hey, I see you're stepping up from a Corolla to a Sienna. Do you happen to have a family that's going to be going in the car? They obviously put a lot of miles on it, so maybe you don't want to shove leasing down their throat right off the bat. And by the way, don't ask customers immediately, are you leasing or financing? It's just a little too early. But mostly, always look to see if a customer has given you a business email address so you can understand a little bit about who they are, what they do. I don't know why no CRMs allow you to search yet by company name or by street address or anything, because I'd love to be able to say, hey, we've sold 3 customers on your same street vehicles, or I happen to sell 20 people in the last 6 months from Motorola. Those are all great things that you can say that will help you build rapport and credibility with the customer. This one, Stephanie Rockefeller, Chicago Bulls fan 79 at Yahoo. What can you learn from this? Well, actually, you just submit a marriage proposal, because obviously she's got money with Laughlin Rockefeller, and she's a fan of the best team in the world. She's probably born in 79, so it's a little younger than me, so it still works. But even if you cannot glean anything from what the customer submitted, take it online. Go online, try to learn more. Start with Google. Google their name. Google their name and the city they live in. Google their email address. Go to switchboard.com or whitepages.com. Search their phone number, because that'll tell you if there's a second phone number. Sometimes customers only submit one, and sometimes it's great to get a second phone number that gives you a completely another alternative method in which to call them. Look at Facebook. and I say MySpace here. I don't know if anybody else is on the new MySpace, because I've only found like 3 or 4 automotive people on it yet, but it's sort of awesome. It's unlike anything I've seen before, but that's just a MySpace pitch. The old MySpace, a lot of people still have those old stupid pictures up, and you can see, if you go on and somebody has a giant, a giant team logo, that says the Detroit Tigers, then by all means, you can say, "Go Tigers," when you're getting off that phone call with them, because those are the type of things that maybe crazy people in Michigan just say naturally.
I want you to know, Steve wrote in, he says, "Who the beep uses MySpace anymore? Come on, Big Joe, the new layout is nice, but it still sucks."
No, the new MySpace is slick. It's sort of like an About Me. I don't know if you use About.me. It's sort of like About.me, but just the ability to find music and they're not letting me upload videos yet, but I think the new MySpace is sort of cool looking. And the only reason is because I can't figure out how to use it yet, because it's that weird. And that interests me. But anyway, go to LinkedIn, because if you can find out where a person works, then you can do 2 things. If you know they work close, you can offer to bring the vehicle to them at their place of business for their lunch hour to save them time. But moreover, if you know where they work, then it allows you to build some rapport on, hey, that's always interesting. Hey, I see you work here. That's always interested in me. Obviously, never let them know that you're searching for them. It's a little creepy. Don't get on and be like, "Yeah, I'm on your Facebook page and I see you got a couple daughters. You have a recital? I like recitals." Like, don't do that. But keep it to yourself, because if you know about a person, you can start understanding a lot about their buying habits, a lot about their buying trends. Maybe you went to school with a person. But either way, this is something I did with every single lead, every single time, is I would spend 2 minutes researching the customer. And yeah, you'll only find things on maybe 3 out of every 10, but those 3 things you can find can help you close deals. So that is one method I urge you to start employing.
Now, this is interesting because Andrew wrote in and he said, "Who has time for all this?" So you literally only spent 2 minutes per lead doing this kind of thing, yes. Right? Okay.
Absolutely. Here, did I go back? Here, let me go back if I can. Spokio. Spokio is a pay site. It used to be a lot better than it is, I'll admit. But it's like $9, $10, $12 a year. And it used to even show you customers' credit scores. But now you can get pictures of their house, what magazine subscriptions they get, if they're married, what their kids' names are, what their parents' names are, what town they live in, alternative phone numbers. Spokio can give you a lot of great information, but just moreover, go to Google, see if you can find it. It really does take 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So I urge you, if you can't dedicate 2 minutes to an internet lead, you're not handling internet leads the right way in the first place. Because that means you have 8 hours a day at the dealership, probably more. Let's say 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So you've got. So let's say you're only working 40 hours a day, and you work 20 hours less than every other car person. Well, think of how many 2 minutes you can squeeze in that. Unless you're handling 1,000 leads a month, which no one is and no one should be, there's no reason you can't spend 2 minutes to lift somebody up. And then just when you're personalizing response, when you're sending back something manually to a customer, think of the type of things that most people respond back with. Consider the point of contact of when a customer, the multiple points of contact that a customer reaches out to you in, and think of responding back mentioning that same source. So for instance, if a customer was on your website and you saw that they submitted an internet lead through your website, here's a poll question. Do you want to explain poll questions, Eliana?
Oh, absolutely. And if you've been to our webinars before, you know how this works. We are going to ask you a poll question, and we need you to just select the one answer that most fits your response. So, Joe, would you like to read the question?
Sure. So here, what is something you can write when a lead is submitted to separate yourself from the others if they submitted it on your website through your inventory? Is it A, thanks for your inquiry, which I would say 90% of every email has with it. B, the internet price is. C, I see you found the perfect vehicle while perusing our website. Or D, no longer available.
Yeah, Yeah, okay, so for all of you out there, what we need is for you to select the best response on this. And then when we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And then, of course, we're going to hear from Joe and see if you got the right answer.
And obviously, these aren't hard questions.
Yes, so. Very, very difficult question. And don't write into me. You need to go to your screen, go to your keyboard, and answer there. Okay? People are writing into me. You're so sweet. But no, we want you to actually vote.
I told you you're more popular than me.
No, they like to talk. Okay, guess what? We do have a majority of the votes. Joshua says, not sure you want to tip your hand that you're the kind of guy who says perusing in a sentence. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that.
It's better than queries, which I won't say the name of the company. It's better than queries, which goes out in like a OEM-sponsored ILM sends out to every customer every time. But no, perusing. Hey, listen, I would much rather a customer sitting at home operating from a laptop think I'm smart rather than thinking I'm a dumb crap. That's for sure. Okay, I would much rather them overestimate my intelligence level rather than think I honestly like white with no paper. I just perusing is not a $5 word. So.
All right, yeah, it's one of those 25-cent words at least. Okay, I want you to know majority of the votes are in, so let's check it out. Joe, 80% of today's audience said C. I see you found the perfect car while perusing our site. See, a lot of people like perusing.
Yes. And, and the other 20% are just jokesters, because I believe that most of you are smart people. So yes, C is the answer. Now, going through the next one, looking at a point of contact, chat. Here's another poll question.
We're going to launch this poll question too. I'm going to put you guys to work. So all you people out there in webinar land, select the best answer for this. Joe, why don't you read the question?
This type of interactivity that makes this so popular.
I know.
How much time do you have to answer an inbound chat before the average customer gives up? Is it A, 6 seconds, B, 8 seconds, C, 10 seconds, or D, what's chat?
What's chat? It's funny, somebody wrote in and said, who picked D? I'm going to let you know right now, peeps. The answer is never D. But let's see what everyone says. I have to say on this one, Joe, because I'm watching the votes as they're coming in, this one's a little bit spread out. Not everyone picked, there's not really a majority on this one. So we're going to see what the correct answer is in just a couple more seconds when we get more votes, and more votes are still coming in. We do appreciate all your votes. We appreciate that you're coming in to the webinar and telling us what you think. Lots of people are voting. And Joe, I think I'm going to close this poll and share the results. Are you ready?
Yes.
Jeez. Okay, here we go, because almost everyone's voted now. So we're going to share the results. So, like I said, not an overriding majority on this. 39% of today's audience said 6 seconds. 36% of today's audience said 8 seconds. 24% of today's audience said 10 seconds. And we got that one stubborn person, 1%, said, what's chat?
So what's the name of somebody who said, what's chat?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Do I know him? Yeah.
Oh, Steve wrote in and said it was me. Thank you, Steve.
The answer is 6 seconds. So
6
the average
seconds.
customer gives up after 6 seconds of chat. So, I mean, once again, it shows the importance of managed chat, or it shows the importance of 100% attention to chat. And chat is, as we all know, a very valuable tool to engage more customers on your website. Last poll question, last point of contact. If there's a trade evaluator on your site, a Kelly Blue Book, a Black Book Online, and they submit a lead through there, last poll question, what is the most important piece of information you can include in the email when responding to this lead? Is it A, the price of the vehicle they requested, B, information regarding their trade-in value, C, your contact info and directions, or D, probably $100?
Probably $100. I like that one. Is there a way?
Worth maybe $100. You might want to try to sell it on your own. So which do you think?
Well, and that's a great question. So let's see what the audience thinks. Please look at your screen and on your keyboard select what you think is the best answer. And if anyone, I know one person wrote in saying that they have audio problems. I don't think anyone else is having audio problems. So it's probably, if you're on a wireless internet, that might be why you might be having audio problems. But once we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And we still have some votes coming in, so we do appreciate it. And I don't know how you can attach $100 to an email. But if you can figure that out, please let me know, because I'd like to get one of those.
$100.
$100. Okay, so I think people are still voting. So I'll give you a couple more seconds. Joe, is there a right answer to this?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure we knew. Okay, we're going to close this poll because I think almost everyone's, oh gosh, votes are still coming in. Okay.
So this time, because I'm a magician, instead of having the entire sentence glow, I'm going to make some changes right here in the back end. I'll only make the letter grow. How's that?
Okay, that's fabulous.
Ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are they telling me? What's the poll answer?
Okay, let's see. We're going to close the poll and share the results. 45% of today's audience picked C, your contact info and directions. 34% of today's audience picked B, information regarding their trade-in value. 20% of today's audience picked A, price of the vehicle requested. And one stubborn person said probably $100. So what's the right answer?
The right answer is B.
Ah, the right answer is B.
And the reason that is, and don't get me wrong, your contact info and directions is on the homepage of your website. It's also probably in your signature. But if a customer went and submitted an internet lead, filled out the form fields and all the detailed information to get a valuation on their trade from something on your site, then by all means there is nothing more important to that customer than the value of their trade. So you should respond back accordingly. So as you and I all know, that whatever it says online still is just a guideline, but that means you still have to make a mention of it. I wrote a blog not too long ago where, and I don't remember the title of it because I'm sort of crazy, but it's about where you don't have to always answer the customer-specific question, but you at least have to address it. I think the blog name is called Address First. You need to address it. So even if you don't say, hey, your vehicle has a value of $6,500 via kellybluebook.com, what time can you come in? You at least need to address, I understand the value of your trade, of your 2010 Honda Accord is important to you. Whatever it is, you need to address that because they chose the trade evaluator as the primary point to submit the lead. So we already talked about sort of beating the clock, and I understand how OEMs are beating the crud out of you guys to beat the clock. But as I said, I'd rather spend the 2 minutes deconstructing the lead, and I'd rather spend the time to put the right information in front of the customer rather than the wrong information or less information from the customers. So what do I believe that you should include in a first personal response? Well, here's sort of the elements. And we at Dealer Knows measure, monitor, and track how well our dealer clients do when following up with internet leads. We actually have a tool that actually assigns grades to how well, as Rose, one of our superstars, knows, who's on the call, at how well people, how thorough they are at following leads and how much information they give and what information they give. And we've actually been able to determine key elements that should be included in email templates that garner significant more responses, significant higher appointment show ratios, and even higher closing ratios. And what we've learned is that in the first personal response, you should always include the MSRP of the vehicle you're quoting, and then include the competitive price or the internet price, showing these savings. And the primary reason I'll say that is if you just send the customer an email that says your special internet price is $25,000, most customers think, hey, 25 grand is 25 grand. That's a lot of money. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money. But if you say the MSRP of your vehicle is $28,100 and your special internet price is $25,000, which gives you a savings of over $3,000, then the mindset of the customer changes and it says $3,000 is a pretty good savings for just having emailed, just having emailed to them. So it changes the mindset of the customer. And then always submit alternate vehicles for them to consider, whether it's a list of pre-owned used cars that might work for them or I like saying models start as low as. And so you know, you can go to any single one of your OEM primary websites, your OEM sites, and click on the make, so the model, and they'll say Silverado starting at 21,800. You can learn that from going to one website how models start as low as, because customers need to see numbers cascading down in emails. They don't want to just see one number; they want to see multiple numbers. And if somebody submitted a link on a new, then give them a link to your inventory, except if they submitted a link or a lead through your website. Because then it's like, hey, thanks for looking at our website. Here's a link back to our website to look at more vehicles. And that's when it's just giving the customer the runaround. And we've seen success submitting links to allow people to get pre-approved. And if a person submits their information, their credit information to get approved after submitting a lead, what we've been able to determine is the appointment show ratio goes up by about 25 to 30%. So it's great to be able to submit a link to get pre-approved in your first personal response. A link to customer testimonials we've seen also seems to work pretty well, but the more you can personalize it, the better. So those are some of the elements that we always urge you to submit in that first personal response. We see customers doing it a myriad of different ways, a bunch of crappy ways. We see people attaching full, every single option, feature, spec, even discounted warranty prices, VIN numbers. You do not need to overload a customer with this type of information. Nobody gives a crap that the car has dorsal protectors on it, or rear intermittent wipers, as one of our comedic videos highlights. There are things that are important, but color keyed handles and foldable outside mirrors aren't it. Don't go and throw the customer off. Try to answer customer-specific questions. Their number one complaint is that you're not answering their personal, specific questions they're asking. But here's one that says, as a valued visitor to our virtual dealership, we'll get back to you within 24 hours. I mean, that's great. It's like, hey, I know it's 11 o'clock, but I was just going to head to lunch. Then I'm going to get back, take my mid-afternoon nap. Gonna joke around about the game with the boys, sit around, coffee clutch, why are no customers coming in? I'm gonna go home, polish off a fifth of vodka on my couch alone, and then come back in the morning, get it in under that 24-hour window. No, don't set the higher standards. If you get back to every customer within 2 hours, tell them 4. If you get back to every customer within half an hour, tell them 1. Always try to over deliver and under promise. So, and then don't use scare tactics. I've seen people try to scare people away from the others. Some other dealers, for no reason, will not send you a price. They will appeal for you to come into their facility, no reason, before giving you the price you requested. Don't talk about what others are doing and what others aren't doing. Stand on your own merits. And lastly, learn to spell. And this, I've used this example for a long time. This one I got back was a gem, but it says, "Hi, William. I do not currently have a Highlander all-wheel drive in magnetic gray, period, no space. I can try on one for you if you have the time for me to do that, period, no space." So these are things where this email proves why salespeople, by and large, should not handle internet leads.
Okay, we do have a lot of concerns coming in from our attendees today. Brian says, do you have an example of a good email that we can see? Katie said, all of that in the first email? Oh my. And Chris said, well, what if you have an addendum sticker on vehicles? So I think you answered Chris's, because you shouldn't put all of that car information, but do you have an example that shows all of those items in one email?
No, not the PowerPoint, but I could send something out. But absolutely, if you look at, and I'll give credence to some of the automatic quote companies that are out there, like an InstaQuote or Response Logics. If you look at what they include a picture of the vehicle. They include, with one of them, they include the exact price plus payment options plus information about the dealership directions, links to testimonials, personal email letters. They include high, medium, and low ranges for what the car is going to be, regional incentives from the manufacturer. Yes, there's one time where you have the ability to send a long email to a customer. And I will say it needs to include pictures of the vehicle because nobody remembers the email they submitted a lead on usually. But you have one time to send a long email, and that is the first personal response that includes your pricing, because you want to remind them what the vehicle looks like with a picture. You want to give them MSRP, special internet pricing, and alternative vehicles. And you want to, obviously, hopefully give a one-sentence value proposition about yourself. But those are things that you should include in a first-person manual response. In regard to addendums, you're absolutely right. I apologize that you work at a dealership that still uses them. I understand they can be a source of profit, but they're also a source of pain in the ass for all the salespeople trying to push them. Addendums, you will want to put an asterisk in there, giving a value proposition, saying something along the lines of every single one of our vehicles come with our, ABC, ABC Motors preferred package, or most of our, which include things like blah, 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 and I can gladly show you all those features on the vehicle when you come in. You don't have to mention the price. You don't have to say that I'm going to smack in the face with another $750 bump when you come in, because that makes you look like a scumbag. And don't get me wrong, I hate addendums for the most part. Anyway, unless it's a worthwhile addendum. Some things are great. Some things customers want to have, or you should be able to build the need in. In my travels, I have seen companies that actually have a $2,000 bump, an addendum bump, for nothing. It's just a bump. Well, we do that so we, they even say, well, we offer all of our cars $2,000 less online, so we show up more aggressively in price on AutoTrader. But when you come in, there's no getting by a $2,000 bump just for nothing. So I've seen it all. I don't agree with it, but if you have something you can add value to, if you can market it in a better way, if you can call it a preferred package, a premium package, a peace of mind package, a personalization package, whatever you can call it in a way to do it, you should at least mention it in the email. This vehicle also comes with a preferred package that has this, this, and this. If you prefer, we can find you others without the preferred package. And there's a slight upcharge to this. Why don't you come in, test drive it, and let us know if you like this one. And, at least give the customer options. Let them know that this is not the take it or leave it deal. This is the auto business. We're in the game to negotiate. So, and don't get me wrong, we are in the game to negotiate, but addendums are my preferred thing. So, sorry I went off on that tangent. But yes, those are elements that you should include. The more you can include, now not like that long, crazy email with all those features and options. That's ridiculous. But the more you can include that's worthwhile to a customer, the more you're going to be able to lure them in, hands down. So I think we all agree that a picture of the vehicle they're interested in is beneficial. Understanding the MSRP versus, and the difference, the savings versus the internet price you're offering is a value to a customer. Offering alternative options is a value to a customer. Even including in a picture in your signature of yourself, even if you look like a gremlin, is a value to a customer. So I urge you to consider including those into your personal response. And the only time I ever tell any of my own clients that I want them to spend a long time, I'll say long, when I say long time, I mean maybe 8 to 10 minutes to put together a well-thought-out, well-worded reply, first-person response, is on a new internet lead. When I say new internet lead, I mean a new car internet lead. That's when you should dedicate 10 minutes of your time to doing it right. Because what our grading tool that we have actually has taught us over time is it's the people that do the little things in this business that earn the business. Every single person sends out an internet price. Not every single, but a good majority of your competitors are sending out an internet price. A good majority of them are mentioning something about financing or talking about the availability of the vehicle. A good majority are doing that. So why just send what everybody's doing? Do the little things. And one of the little things, for segues, is offering to customers multiple methods of communication in which to get back to you. So they've chosen email if they're submitting an internet lead. They've chosen email as their primary or preferred method of contact. So you show them respect by getting back to the customer with the same method of contact. So think outside the earthly limitations of your internet department and ask them how they like to be contacted. And, yeah, you can always ask email or phone, but you can also ask them if you can continue to send them updates on incentives as they change, because that allows you to follow up with customers long term. And you can send them, offer them video chat. Hey, include a Skype link if you have Skype and a webcam on your desk. Webcam's $30. Because video chat is like a virtual meet and greet. Invite them in person. Sometimes a customer submits an internet lead and they think it's just a bunch of crazies sitting in an office whose sole job is to email them back information, but that's not the person they're going to ask for when they come in. Make sure that they recognize that your internet department or your BDC has the ability through multiple mediums to answer all of their questions, but the end goal is to work them towards an in-person visit. And you need to just offer them, or would you like to come in and personally sit down or test drive the vehicle? Because the test drive is the one thing the internet cannot give them. The internet can give them features, specs, options, colors, what gap insurance costs, what MSRP and invoice is, what their trade-in values worth. The internet can give people everything, but the ability to put their butts in the seat of a car, so always be inviting them in person. So we're going to do another poll question here. This is about a call, because we all realize that even when a customer submits an internet lead, a call must go out. And ideally, it goes out about a minute after you've sent that first personal response with pricing. So here's a poll question, and we'll take you back to the poll. In what order, and this is, there's differing opinions, I understand that, but myself, my friends, and what, I've learned, what we've used, and what my superstar BDC person on the call always sticks by, in what order should you ask these questions of your inbound call? And this is going to be weird when I say this, but is it A, first their first name, then last name, phone number, and source? Or is it their phone number, first name, last name, and source? Or is it the source that brought them in, the phone number, their first name and last name? Or do you say, what car was that again? Oh yeah, sold.
Please just select one of the following answers. When we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. Votes are coming in fast and furious, and of course, as always, we do appreciate your votes, and we appreciate that you're being interactive with us, and we want to make sure we are teaching ooh, we're getting a lot of good votes. There is still one person out there who picked D.
I must know this person. I must know this. No, and I'm not saying I must as in you tell me. I'm saying I must as in I probably know this person.
Okay, well, you know what? We have a lot of the votes in. I think I'm going to close the poll now and share the results. Now, this is pretty interesting. Again, Joe, like one of the other previous questions.
33, 33, 33?
Well, it's pretty close to a split vote. 40% of today's audience picked A, first name, last name, phone number, and source. 31% of today's audience picked B, phone number, first name, last name, and source. And 28% of today's audience picked C, source, phone number, first name, last name. And then I told you there was one person who picked D, which obviously is not the right answer.
Well, in this case, let's hear it for the minority, because we believe, interesting that it happened like that. The answer, which doesn't show up, is what we found is C, is if you can ask for a source first. I mean, harking back to those first questions I asked, if you can ask a source first, and you can ask sort of what site they saw the vehicle from, or where they saw the vehicle, where they gained the interest of the dealership, it allows you to immediately open up understanding that customer and their buying process. Maybe they saw it on your website. You get to thank them for taking a look at the website. Maybe they saw it on AutoTrader, so you know the type of person that's going to AutoTrader. Maybe they drove by it and they're just calling in the dealership. Asking a source allows you to ask multiple questions after the fact. So we always say C, asking source first, going for the phone number, as you know, and it's the old standard, because there's no groundbreaking new person doing phone trading. It's the old standard, which is, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, it's going to take me about 5 to 10 minutes to go and check on the availability of that vehicle for you. While I have you on the phone, what I'd like to do is give you a call right back, even if you're not going to take them offline. You tell them, I'm going to give you a call right back. What's the best number to reach you at? So if you just say what the best number to reach you at, and then not, can I have your phone number, people will give it. Because the most important thing you can get from a customer is their contact information back. You can always get their first name and last name later, but you need the contact information back. Because they just say Steve Smith, you're going to be going through the phone book looking for a million Steve Smiths. But if you can get that phone number, that'll immediately connect you with who you need to talk to. So once again, just have a strategy, have a lead management strategy. Don't keep asking, are you still interested? Are you still in the market? Have you bought yet? Haven't heard from you. You know, the first email, give them what they ask for, answer their questions, give them a personal response with some alternate options. In the second email, and when I say, I don't mean second email, but maybe second step, sell yourself right away with either a picture or ideally a personal video message of yourself. Because there's only one thing that your next closest same brand competitor does not have at their dealership. They've got the same incentives as you. They've got the same cars, in the same colors, with the same features as you do. Probably the same prices, maybe better bank rates. The only thing your dealership has that the other dealership doesn't is you. So you need to get that customer to start buying into who you are or who your team is right off the bat. Third email, or the third step, is selling the process. Obviously, customers are still using the internet and still submitting leads, 20% are, because there's a mystery to them and they want to get all their ducks in a row. Explain your road to the sale. Tell them exactly what's going to happen, what you're willing to do for them before they come in and when they come in. And if you take that, you know, the cloud away as to exactly how this is going to go, it puts their mind at ease. And the fourth, sell your dealership. And I hope you use more of a value proposition than we're family owned and operated for 35 years. You know, because that doesn't mean much anymore, sadly. It's a shame it doesn't. But last time you went to a mom and pop gas station, you know you paid more for gas. Last time you went to a mom and pop grocery store, you know you paid more for groceries. So family owned and operated, well, sure, it gives you that little sense of, hey, they know my name. Your people don't know their name. You know, they don't. Your people, your salespeople probably don't know the other names of some of the salespeople. So family-owned and operated doesn't always come with it in our industry, sadly, a great value proposition. So figure out what it truly is that your dealership can offer that maybe the next dealership doesn't. Something that has a financial or tangible benefit to it. But I will say, top reviews, most reviews, best reviews, that is a value proposition. And lastly, sell your brand. The OEM is spending millions and millions and millions of dollars selling the brand. The last thing you need to sell is the car. But in all of your emails, always ask them questions. Always be trying to elicit a response or build value in every email you send. You should not just say something like, you know, thanks again for your inquiry. Haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. I was wondering if you're still in the market. Because that's not a question. I was wondering if you're still in the market. Feel free to give me a call back if you have any questions. Thanks. There's nothing there for a customer to respond back to. So always try to find new ways to interact with them. Have different email template topics. Don't just have, here's a still interested, here's a 7-day, have you bought yet. Have a template all about some customer testimonials, not just for the store, but for yourself. You know, have a value proposition email about your dealership or your process. Have pictures, videos, e-brochures of the vehicle that you can send to the customer. Unbiased third-party data about the vehicle, saying, hey, you know, the Hyundai Genesis was the 2000 blah, blah, blah car of the year. Having third-party data extolling the virtues of how great that car is actually is really beneficial. It's not beneficial in the first email, but it's beneficial a few days later. Incentive changes, emails, videos from the general manager, letting them know that these people are important, have different topics that appeal to different people in your email templates. And then recognize that your first personal response is not going to sell you every car. What's going to sell you every car is the back and forth, the volley. And that's where the game really is won. So as soon as a customer responds back to you, you need to be on that immediately. You do not sit back and wait for a customer's reply to go and answer. But one thing that can speed it up is create templates that actually answer some of the primary questions you're asked back. And what we've found is the primary questions that are asked back are, could you tell me what my trade is worth? So instead of just hand writing out an answer to overcome that so you don't have to give them a trade objection, get together with your managers and write it down. Just say, here's a good way, here's something I can send back every single time to at least see if I can get the customer in before having to give up any type of trade value estimates, and write down what that is. Is this your best price? Write down how you can try to answer that or overcome it, rather than getting up from your desk and going to the sales manager and saying they want to know if this is the best price. Instead of doing that, see if you can overcome it, but create a template so you don't have to write it manually every time. We're trying to speed these things up. What are my lease payments? I hate giving out lease payments through email. I hate. So I will at least, now, if it really, really, really came down to it, I probably would. Maybe. But I will at least try to take a shot or two explaining why I wanted them to come in to gather all the information without having to give it to them first. So write down, the importance of them coming in to get their information handled. Maybe it's about the security of their information. Maybe it's about all the different information that you're going to need to gather, and they're going to need to send somebody that they really don't know or potentially trust. And those are things that you can use to sell them the benefit for coming in rather than selling them the car through lease payments. And here's our last poll question. We're going to play Who Wants to Be an Internet Sales Manager? So let's say the appointment's set. You set the appointment. You've done all the back and forth necessary for them to decide that they want to come in. So now, when the appointment is set, what do you not want to include in the appointment confirmation email? Is it A, Google Maps driving directions to the dealership? B, appointment confirmation of appointment time with a request to call if anything pops up? C, a promise to have the vehicle available and pulled up ready to test drive? Or D, I'm skipping my Pilates class right now, so you better friggin' show up.
Oh, you lucky people. Yes. All you have to do is select one of the following answers, and we're going to wait until we have a majority of the votes. We're going to close the poll and then share the results. So, is it A?
And really quickly, while you're doing that, somebody just texted me from an 847 number that sadly has an old Chicago number that I don't have saved in my phone, but it says, hey, I'm listening to your webinar on Dealer On right now. Joe, you're the man. But I don't know who it is, so I can feel good about myself. Just text me back to that number and say, hey, this is who I am. And then I'll save your number. But I still probably won't call because I'm fairly busy and important. Sorry.
Whoever that was, we want to thank you. But I do want to say, Christian didn't read the answer correctly. Kristen didn't read the answer correctly, and he says he answered incorrectly. I apologize for that, Kristen. So am I supposed to say that you were supposed to do D? And Daryl said it's obviously D. But you know what? We're going to close this poll and share the results and see what is going on. Okay, so 83% of today's audience, my very smart audience, answered D. I'm skipping my Pilates class, so you better friggin' show up. 10%
That is correct, and that was a trick question because it says, what do you not want to include? And it was my old buddy that I used to work with, Scott Sanders, who was in my old comedic video called The Meet and Greet, and he was in that video. So he also called me an MFer. And you couldn't know his number, so shout out to Scott. But yes, the answer is D. I'm skipping my Pilates class. When you go and you send an appointment confirmation email or you send an appointment confirmation call, I don't care if it's done by the BDC or manager or the person who set the appointment, it needs to be done. Appointment confirmation emails and calls improve the show rate of appointment sets by 15 to 20% on average. So, but I will say, you don't have to do it within like 4 to 6 hours from the time it was set. If you go and you set an appointment for somebody to come and see in 2 hours and a manager calls, you look stupid. It's like, we don't communicate here, so I just wanted to confirm, because it's so rare for Darren to have anybody come in to see him, we wanted to double check. We couldn't believe it with our own ears. So it doesn't need to be done within a short time frame, but always make sure that they've received directions. Even if they say they know where the dealership is, Make sure they have directions to the dealership. Remind them of your promise of having the vehicle ready for when they got here, like prep, wash, gas, ready to go. They'll pull up their vehicle right next to it. And just ask for a courtesy call if they're going to be late. You need to make an appointment at the dog groomers nowadays. So it's a shame that we can't hold our customers to the same standard. So really let them know that there's a value for them having set the appointment. But at the end of the day, if you're maximizing every lead, if you're building value in yourself, if you really are personalizing the process, really getting personal, detailed information, then by all means, they're going to drive off happy, and you're not going to have the Queen of England shooting you in the face. And if you see my last thing I have to say, see Skyfall in theaters now.
Which I haven't seen yet. I heard it was good.
Really good movie. Argo's pretty good too, but anyway. All right, and that is, and then I'll send it over to you. Oh, great. Here, last poll. It's not a poll. Top 5 answers on the board. We traveled forward in time and asked 100 attendees of this session, in the grand scheme of things, just how great was the session. 35 of you said amazing. 25 said very great. 20 said super great, which might actually be above very great. 19 said fun and informative. And 1 said better luck next time. So thanks a lot, Mom. And then I will pass it over to Eliana.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joe Webb. Always entertaining and very informative. So I want you to know, Joe, we have a lot of really, really great questions from our audience. So I want to, of course, thank everyone in advance for those awesome questions. We're going to get to those in just a minute. But just in case you came to the webinar a little late, you may have missed my announcement that our good friends at Dealer Knows Consulting is giving away a great prize today for one lucky attendee. What is it? It's a comprehensive contact assessment and 1-hour training session with Joe. And Joe says it's valued at $500 to $1 million, but I think it sounds downright priceless. So what they're going to do at Dealer Knows Consulting, they're going to mystery shop your dealership. They're going to evaluate your website, your emails, your phone elements, and then Joe Webb's going to review all those results and give you a private 1-hour virtual dealer training session with your entire internet team. Awesome, right? All you have to do is answer a simple question, and the first one to write in the correct response is going to win this awesome prize. So I want you to get in front of your keyboards right now. Very important, because I'm going to ask the question right now. Are you ready, Joe?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, as I said, I can't see the answers, so...
No, you can't.
Yeah.
But I have the correct answer, and we're going to ask the question right now. So everyone's ready at the keyboards, right? Okay, here we go. First one to write in the correct response wins. Oh, is there any other rules any other game show rules we need to be mindful of, Joe?
Well, as you're the one who developed this, Eliana. This is all you. So, as I said, whoever gets it first wins it.
Whoever gets it first wins it.
Anybody else that actually gets the correct answer, and they've only answered, you can only answer one time. If they get the correct answer, mention their name as a runner-up to make them feel good about themselves.
Okay, here we go. The question is, how many different game shows were referenced during today's webinar? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Stop voting, stop voting. We already got the very first person who wrote in had the right answer, and I can't believe it. Although there was a runner-up. You were right. There was a runner-up. Thank you all for playing along. I love that you guys were fast. So our winner is Gary Myers. Gary Myers, thank you so much. You got the correct response. The answer was 18. And our runner-up was Mike Mannix. Gary, if you could write in, I know, so not fair. Gary, if you could write in and let me know what dealership you're from so we can give you a proper shout-out, we would appreciate that. Everyone, thank you so much for, man, you guys.
You're saying only 2 people got it right?
Only 2 people got it right before I asked them to stop voting. But
get the information from Mr. Mannix, too, and I'll give him a call.
Oh, Mannix, did you hear that? You awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. That's really great. We really appreciate that. We have people now writing in the correct response of 18. So I want to thank everyone for that. Okay, we are going to get to some of these questions. Congratulations, Mike. And, of course, I want to send congratulations to Gary Myers for being such a quick trigger finger. Okay, first question came to us nice and early in our presentation. It's from Katie. And Katie says, the first email should be plain text. What about adding a video? Will that make it through the spam filter? What do you think, Joe?
You know, there is no 100% hidden rules about spam other than the word Viagra tends to get me caught now and then. But I will say video links in the first email, like a video link or an embedded video file, whether it's Flash or otherwise, can get you caught a lot more often. If it's a YouTube link, I see YouTube links getting through more than Vimeo links, admittedly. But if you're going to send a video, and don't get me wrong, I love the idea of a video as sort of a building value autoresponder. I think those are great, but understand that they will get you caught in more spam. And if you have a good CRM company, a lot of the good CRM companies allow you to measure your email open rates or respond rates based on the subject line. So we at Dealer Knows really go in for our own clients because we give out all of our clients templates and processes and stuff. We go and we measure open rates. And by and large, I will tell you the average open rate is still probably 15 to 20% of all emails. And videos, I don't know if that's spam or that's just natural open rates, but videos tend to get seen less. However, those that get through, videos are viewed multiple times. So I'm a huge fan of sending videos. Huge fan, but they like personal video introductions, shooting a video of yourself and sending it to a customer. Those aren't just opened and viewed once. Those are viewed 5 times, 6 times. It's really creepy.
It's creepy?
It's creepy, but it's great. Like what we see is like if a man sends a personal video introduction, it'll be viewed on average 2 to 3 times. If a woman sends it, it's viewed on average like 6 to 7. So it's freaky.
Okay, so this is interesting because Katie wasn't the only one who asked about that. Chris wrote in, we do an introductory video through YouTube on the initial response. What's your thoughts on that? So,
I think it's absolutely great, but you have to recognize that a portion of it will get you caught in spam. And the downside is, if your first email gets you nailed in spam, then most of your ongoing emails will get you caught in spam. The most important thing about any email you can send is the fact that it gets through to their inbox. I mean, I don't know about you, but I haven't looked in. I've got probably, 4 different. I got a Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, AOL. I'm still rocking AOL. I've got a bunch of different, and I've got my business one. I've got a bunch of different accounts, and I will tell you, I think it's been 2 years, 3 years since I've actually looked into a spam folder before actually just deleting everything in there.
Huh.
And just deleting from the outset. So recognize that I think it's great. I think it's great for value building. I'm a big fan of it. It's just a shame that more and more it's not getting the open rates or the review rates. And I will also tell you that if you can embed the video, the play symbol, even if you attach it as a JPEG image under overlaying a link, if you can show a customer a thumbnail with that iconic play symbol in the middle of it, it's going to get a lot more attention than if you just send over a link.
Are you looking at my questions? Because that was my next question, which came to us from Roger. He said, I think you might just be.
Why are you questioning me in front of everyone?
Why don't you change it to the next slide so everyone can see your pretty mug? Roger said,
No.
Oh, yeah. It also has your contact information on there, Sugar Love. Okay. Roger wrote in, what is the recommended delivery method for personal video messages? Embedded in the email or linked to YouTube? Also, is it better to create and use one personal intro video or create one for every lead?
Well, here's the truth. I think we can all agree that a personal one would be more valuable, and a lot of quote-unquote, self-proclaimed experts have made their name for themselves just by doing that regularly. Most of you, if you guys are balking at doing 2 minutes of searching a customer on Google, you most certainly don't have the damn time to film a video for each one. But yes, I will tell you, much depends on the CRM. If you can immediately upload it and embed it into the email without just being a link, then by all means it is great. It is better. Sending over a link is second best, provided it's a YouTube link. But if you can embed it, if you make it personal, it's great. If you can't, you can just do a blank one. So long, the benefit of a personal video introduction is they see your face, they hear your voice, they're comfortable with you, one way or the other. That's a real benefit. So if you say, "How you doing, folks? My name is Greg McNaffersons, and I'm the internet manager here at ZXY Motors. Just want to introduce myself and put a face for the name. I also want to make sure you receive the emails that I just sent over. Please give me a call at your earliest convenience. My phone number is 555-5555. If you'd like to schedule a test drive or have any questions, thanks and have a great day." Even that, because they're immediately comfortable with who you are, it's a great skate protector. They come in and they look, and they start looking for you instead of just somebody with your name. And they're more comfortable with you because people know when they come to a dealership, they're going to test drive a car, so they visualize what it's like to test drive a car, but they can't visualize what it's like to work with you. The minute you can attach a video and they see your mannerisms, see how your mouth moves, see your eyes twitch, see that extra long nose hair, once they see who you are, they're more comfortable with you. They will work with you before the anonymous person all day long.
Yeah, we had one of our attendees, Adam. He said he just beat out another local dealer because of his video and his follow-up. So there definitely is something to it. Adam, congratulations on that. That's great. Okay, we have lots of questions to get to. You ready, Joe?
Yeah, no, I now that the webinar's done, this is easy for me. I'm taking off my pants and getting comfortable.
Oh, really? Great. Fabulous. Okay, Kelly wrote in, how can you get that first email plain text through without an opt-out link?
You always have to have you always have to have, and this pisses, sorry, I shouldn't say that. Is this Kelly Sue Wilson?
It is Kelly Wilson.
Tell her that's a stupid question and I don't want to answer it.
Stop it, Joe.
No, instead I will say, yeah, you're right. It is my firm belief that if you're manually sending something out, and you've bought a lead, you legally have 90 days federally to contact that person. You should not be required to attach an opt-out into a personally manually sent email. Automated emails, I understand all CRMs require it and automatically attach it. I hate that they do because I think federally or legally, so long as it's within 90 days, you're still allowed sending it out. But most CRM companies don't play games, so they just automatically attach it. If it's automated, you have to include the opt-out. If it's manual, you don't. So if you just want to, Kelly Sue, you got nothing else going on with yourself socially. So if you just wanted to set an alert for yourself to manually send your autoresponder every time without an opt-out, you can definitely do that.
Kelly wrote in XOXO, Joe, but seriously, I'm going to have to kick you in the shin offline. That was not nice, Joey.
Oh, she knows it's all in good fun.
I know. Thank you for being a good sport, Kelly. Okay, next question comes to us from Rose. She says, here's a question. Some leads come in without a first name, such as just an initial. How would you suggest to address that customer?
That's a great question. So I will tell you, there's a few different ways to go. You could just say hello and work your way in and introduce yourself like, hello. I actually like to make it more than apparent that I don't have their information. So I will say something along the lines of, I saw the initial J, and I'd be happy to refer to you by your first name or last name, whichever you prefer. So just let me know, and I'll say, let me know which is a Mr. or a Mrs. I will actually handwrite all that out just to make them feel stupid because I'm including information to them. But what I would say is if you search their phone number in Switchboard or in White Pages, search their phone number. If you look up their last name and their and the city they live in, if you Google search their email address in Google or in Facebook, you can very often find where the first name is because I think it's more fun when you've deconstructed a lead, found it, and responded to them with their whole information.
Well, you heard that, Rose. He wants you to be a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes and see if you can find it. You don't think that's creepy if they know that they put, like, a letter W in there and then all of a sudden,
No,
like,
and let me tell you.
Hey, Warren, how are you?
I don't want people to make me I don't want people to think I'm a complete evil person, because I might be a little bit. But I don't believe in lying to customers, but I think you can fib with them if it doesn't hurt them. So if a customer wrote in W, one thing I used to love to say, if they ever emailed or called and said, how did you know my name was William if I put in W? And I'd say, oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea that you had only put in W. You submitted your lead through AutoTrader, and AutoTrader automatically reviews and runs your name against thousands of databases to send us all the correct information. So that's why we pay AutoTrader money for you to submit those leads to us. So I'll actually throw it on the lead provider, whether it's AutoTrader, Cars.com, anybody. I will say, oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea you just put in W, or I had no idea you didn't give your work number, because even if I had found it myself, I will say, you know, since you used Edmunds goes and runs your name against thousands of national databases and provides us all of your contact information. I had no idea. I'll just follow up with you at your home number that you provided from here on out. But while I have you on the phone, have you had the chance to test drive this vehicle?
You have an answer for everything, don't you, Joe?
That way you're just, you're pointing the blame somewhere else. But the truth is, it makes sense to a customer. They don't know how things operate in our industry. But if there's more ways to get a hold of them than one, I will try those ways.
Rose wrote in, thanks, I'll try that, but try to limit the stalking effect. Good going, Rose. Good luck with that. And Kelly wrote in, most people without first names have their name in their email address, so that's probably true too. So let's go to the next question. You had talked a little bit about chat, and we got a number of questions about chat. So David wrote in, what happens if you're not a big enough dealer to have chat on your website, or do you recommend it at all? And do you recommend a certain chat service for all dealers?
Oh, awesome.
Way to put you on the spot, right?
No, fine. I love chat. I think it's a great additional tool that allows you to engage customers. Some people prefer the quick method of communication, because if they don't chat, what I found out is they tend to pick up the phone and call actually more than they actually submit emails. But somebody like my friend Todd Smith at Active Engage might be able to shed more light on what the next step for them that don't chat are. Truth is, if you're not a big enough dealership, you likely don't have the staff to man the chat, at least through work hours, as well as you should anyway. So if you're not a big enough dealership, the cost for chat, even though it's a low cost if you manage it yourself. I mean, there's chat companies that do it for as little as like $99, $199, $299 a month, which is a low dollar amount. At the end of the day, though, you might generate another 30, 15 to 30, leads, or might I say 100 chats, or maybe just 30 chats. The truth is, it might not be in your budget, and you could use something that is more stagnant, that doesn't require a person on your staff to man it all the time. But I will say managed chat, by and large, unless it's a new Dealers United had a pretty good chat deal going on, I believe. But if you remember Dealers United. Nonetheless, I will say chat is great. I'm a fan of it. I've got it on my own website. Not that I ever log in, so I'm a POS in that regard. But I got it on my own site because I love it, but it can't always, if you don't have the person managing it or looking for it, it doesn't do you much good. So it might just be a wasted expense, because there's an offside. If you have chat and nobody's answering it, and they just have to fill out their information and it sends in as lead, they're going to be pissed off. Yeah, I don't want to upset a customer because there's nobody there to manage chat. And if you do hire a managed chat company, it can be pretty expensive if they do it right.
Funny thing is that's...
Yeah, I don't know if the companies that do it right or best. I don't know if I should say it, but
well, because I was going to say Katie wrote in and she said, should chat be in-house or outsourced? So you say in-house as long as you have the people to man it.
I would always say in-house if you have the people to do it. In-house if you have the team that's capable of doing it and doing it well. Because look at what a customer wants is an answer to their question. That's all they want. They're chatting for an answer to their question. So why dedicate them to somebody who's just going to ask them questions and say somebody will be with you in a while? That's not answering their question.
And I've said this before. I use chat not when I bought a car, but for another large purchase. It was for a vacation.
Your house.
Well, no, but it was for a vacation. not in America, so it was overseas vacation, and I wanted to know one thing. I couldn't find it any place on the website. I used the chat, got my answer, booked the vacation right there. So that was the only thing that was holding me.
And I use chat pretty frequently as well. Let me just tell you 3 or 4. I never get, since I don't take any money from any vendors, I usually can just be fairly unbiased, but I always give a few. I will say my clients have had success with Active Engage, most specifically because of how you can track everybody on your site. Some of your own CRMs, depending on who you use, offer their own chat company. Client Connections out of Texas is good. And Contact At Once for a low dollar or for a more inexpensive service is still a great service, and they're already tied in on multiple platforms through AutoTrader and Cars.com, so you don't really need to flip into too many different formats. But those are the ones that I like the most.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have another chat question which came to us from JR. He says, how many chat requests do most people get? We just don't get many from our website, so it's hard to get my salespeople to take it seriously.
Yeah, and by and large, salespeople barely take, hygiene seriously, let alone chats.
Oh.
So, and if this is JR, I don't know if this is JR Baxter, that guy follows me on Facebook, or we're friends on Facebook.
No, it's not.
I do not have that answer. I'll admit it. I don't have the updated chat information. I've heard, and I just did a big article about chat where I interviewed a bunch of people and I sat in on a webinar. But it's a decent amount that actually use chat, and chat is growing in popularity as a reliable source for customers to use. But with that said, I have no idea when it comes to automotive chat stuff. I think the only people that might know that type of data would be a Contact At Once or an Active Engage.
Right. Okay, well, now let's move on to price. Oh, everyone wants to know about this. I have 2 completely opposite questions on this. The first one comes from Frances. She says, if we give the customer the price amount on their trade as they had asked, and they're shopping the trade price as well as the new, what suggestion do you have to get them to come into your dealership? Because I was told that giving the customer too much info, ammunition to shop elsewhere, was not a good idea. I was going to say, I have an opposite question, but I'll ask that.
Right. I mean, I believe in giving a bunch of information what I deem is important to them. If you have one of the trade evaluator conversion tools on your website, it's already giving them a price. Let's say if a customer's asking you for their trade-in value, they've looked on KBB and they've looked on Edmunds already. So what you can say is just confirm their expectations, and you can say, I understand that you were on our website and achieve the value of this, but understand that we have several buyers for pre-owned vehicles that are always looking for great trade-ins. When might be the best time for you to stop into our store so I can have a professional appraiser on site to get you top dollar for your car? Tuesday or would Wednesday work better? Something like that. But more, just let them know that there's other options. It's not an end-all, be-all. One thing is you could say you've obviously researched the value of your vehicle on Kelley Blue Book or Edmunds, and I can let you know that because we're such a large dealership and have such a high volume of pre-owned vehicles, we're always looking for more, and we're always competitive to the price, to the value guides that you see right there. Just say you're competitive by and large, because I understand that this says this, and the value of your trade-in is important to you. How soon can you come in to have it professionally appraised? Right now or later today, and just ask them to come in, because truth is you cannot put price sight unseen. You can sight unseen to a car, and there are great companies out there like Car by Co's one where they'll come to your client's lot, and they'll pick the car up with a check in hand right there an hour after reaching out to the service.
What?
You can give cars value sight unseen, but as a dealership, it's just not ideal. More likely they're using it as a trade towards something, and the thing might be tip top, but if it smells like dog hair or wet feline, then by all means there's going to be a devaluation on that car. So until you get inside, smell it, turn it on, your used car manager might not feel comfortable putting an exact value dollar on it. I can respect that.
Yeah, and then we had somebody else who wrote in, and they said, well, how do you convey to the dealer, general management, and principal that buying that pricing is an important part of internet response? They want to mandate no pricing, which I know and you know is what the customer prospects are actually looking for. So do you have any help for this gentleman, Joe?
Tell him to read a book. No, I mean, like, the truth is, yes. It still shames me that a lot of people just say, get them in, get them in, get them in. You know, they don't need the price, just get them in. When we know, you know, customers, there was a study done, I can't remember who did it, it was about 2 years ago, where they said even if they didn't click request a quote, they expect one, and if you don't give them one, then they feel as if you're withholding something from them. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be the exact price of the exact car that they need or they want, but they just want to see that you're trying to be upfront and transparent. How do you get buy-in from your owners or your general managers to do things more transparently? Well, that's the age-old question. You know, much as how do they currently shop online? Do they buy anything on Amazon? Because would they buy anything on it? Would they click into a product, put it in their checkout, put it in their cart, if they didn't see a price? You know, because submitting a lead is sort of like putting something into your shopping cart. You haven't bought yet, but you're considering it. So would they put something in the shopping cart that didn't have a price on it? You know? Would they click to buy? Would they submit an internet lead? Or would they come in without a price on it? And more likely, they're not going to. You know, changing a person's beliefs, you know, is pretty different. It takes years of marriage. But yeah, what I would say is, you know, talk to them about their own shopping habits. It's the only way. Look for studies. I know there's a couple studies. Cobalt did one. I think ADP did one, all about pricing. Response Logics, who's now I think Digital Airstrike, did one a couple of years ago about closing ratios increasing when you include multiple price quote options into the lead management process. Those are the type of things where usually people only react to data. And I say this with a caveat. And I appreciate so many people staying on listening to me ramble.
So do I. Thank you.
You would think that data would prove, hey, look, customers, by and large, this percentage, 80%, say they prefer to receive a price. So with this data, can we start offering price through email? No. Okay, why not? Well, because that's not how I grew up with it. You know, it's like, you know, there's sometimes you can't change people's beliefs. I will say in the consulting game, even when, and this is why sales managers, some hate me, or even a general manager or whatever now and then, if I'm telling them something that I know can make them a lot more money, and they listen and they recognize that what I'm telling them can make a lot more money, and put more money in their pockets, their specific pockets, but it goes against specifically what they've told other people in the past, they won't do it. They'll actually they'll actually champion to work against what will make them more money, just so they can keep their head held high. So there's a lot of, you know, ego in this industry that doesn't need to be. Everybody talked about big data at the Vegas conferences, and data should dictate how you run your operations. But moreover, how I even started developing a smart lead management process back when I was a lowly nothing internet sales coordinator. It was because I thought, if I were a customer, how would I want to be treated? If I were a customer, what would I want? And I always had the ability of putting myself in the customer's mindset, and that allowed me to understand the why I should do stuff. Not just the what I need to send, but the why I should be sending it. And I think if dealers can understand the why, they don't need to understand the what. They need to understand the why. And if you can do a good enough job verbalizing the why to them with data and with just sheer logic about basic shopping cycles and their own shopping, then you might be able to convert them. And if we have a lot of questions, I'll speed up my answers with like 3-word answers.
Okay, I'd like to see you try.
No, don't do.
Okay. All right, well, Charlie wrote in, how do you quote price if your direct competition within 5 miles of you quotes way into holdback, and you don't have fees to make up the difference.
So in other words, if somebody's lowballing the customer.
Yeah.
Now, there was a slide in here that said, don't use scare tactics, where it said some other dealers will urge you to come in, blah, 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 blah. And that's why I sort of added in, I've been on 2 video calls, virtual webinars today already. So I forgot who I was speaking to. One thing on our personal response template for new cars that we always send out is an asterisk right under the pricing that says, if you call me, I will gladly let you know what specific rebates or added discounts are available to you from this pricing. And then I'll have another one that will say, recognize that many dealers will automatically discount these rebates from the pricing they're showing you, and will then ask you to pay them once you come in. Now, truth is, just from the old sales game, sadly, some customers have to learn the hard way. I believe in telling the truth rather than joining the pack. Hey, if everybody's doing it, I'm going to do it. Because that hurts your reviews, your ratings, your credibility, your reputation. And reputation and character is more important to me than a sale. So I'd rather do business the right way and tell them, this is the price, this is the God's honest price. I recognize that you might receive some pricing with more discounts from somewhere else, but recognize that it's not always about the price with our customers. ABC Motors offers value far above price, and I'd be more than happy to tell you what some of those things are when you come in. Just let them know. Only 20% of customers actually choose specifically based on price. 80% are still up in the air. So long as you're competitive, that you can prove that you're willing to treat them better, serve them better, do things for them, bring the car to them, give them a few free oil changes, whatever it is. So long as you're competitive, and if you've got a value proposition and you're doing things the right way, some people just want to choose the people that they feel most comfortable with.
I have to say, I've never worked in a dealership. I've made that perfectly clear. But I have bought a lot of cars in my time, and I am the ultimate shopper. And while a best price raises my eyebrow, I would willingly, gladly pay a little bit more and get way better service. Now, of course, best case scenario, I get the best price and I get the great service, but I will take great service any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So,
yeah, and so what I did when I was in retail, my entire team did it, is we would mystery shop, and I actually had high schoolers mystery shop every single local same brand dealership as me, the 10 closest. We had 10 within 30 miles, on every single make and model that we offered across the board every single month, and we would try to extract the pricings for them. And I created a basic, Excel file matrix where I knew plus or minus invoice what every single dealership was doing, my competitive dealerships were doing on every car. And what I realized over time is, and then I would write what the median discount is, what the mean discount is, and what my deviation from the mean was, and what my deviation from the lowest price was. And what I recognized over time is that we never needed to be the lowest price, because our lead management process, our calls, our people were just better than others. And we were just smarter than others. And we cared more about the customer. We cared, honestly, about how they liked their shopping experience. Not false, but we actually cared about it. And what we realized is we didn't have to be the lowest. We just needed to be $25 to $50 better than the mean.
There you go.
We needed to be competitive.
Well, look, I wish you the best of luck on that. I do want to get to like 2 more questions, and I know we're going way over time, and I think we have so many people that are still on the line, so I of course want you to get the most out of this that you can. Our question comes from Kevin. He says, I have a split department. I have customer service reps who handle the lead and set the appointment. When the customer comes to the dealership, then they're handed off to an internet sales consultant. My question is, how many leads can a CSR effectively handle in a month?
So is this an appointment setting? Is this a BDC person, right? An appointment setting internet person?
Yeah. So how many? So those customer service reps that are in the BDC, how many can they effectively handle in a month?
Total opportunities 175 to 225 if they're good. So on average, 200 opportunities a month. And when I say opportunities, I mean leads and calls.
Ah, but you said if they're good. You said if they're good. If they're average, how many can they handle?
175. If you put, because then they're going to fall off anyway. If you put additional, like I believe any customer service rep should have additional duties like making unsold walk-in follow-up calls to customers, lease retention calls, manifest list calls, those type of things. If you put those additional duties on the customer, then you might want to say 150 to 175, but no. By and large, a good BDC person's clear cut down the middle, 200 opportunities a month. I see some handling 3. I see some handling 125, which is too low. 200 is probably what I prefer.
Kevin, I hope that helps you out. I want to get to this question from Chris. She asked, would you recommend using Facebook messaging for chats?
Interesting, because I know that a few people are having success saying, okay, I found this person on Facebook, so I'm going to go and naturally, I'm going to just Facebook them and say, hey, I understand you did that. I definitely recognize how you can get more people and connect with more people that way. I still think it might be a touch invasive, just maybe. Now, if I own my own dealership, sure, I'd probably try it out. I'd try it out with people that if we deconstructed the lead and I saw I was able to determine that they were actually active on it, and it was a dealership where, I mean, as you know, a page, a Facebook page can't reach out and message a customer, so it'd have to be from a personal account. So if, for instance, there was, like, one of my clients would be like a Jim Curley Buick GMC Kia, and he's got a Jim Curley Facebook page, but a Jim Curley account. Because of the same name of it, if my BDC people, and I trust them enough, had access to that to message a customer, I might feel more comfortable going that route than doing it from the actual BDC person's personal account to the other person's personal account. But I can see how you'd increase engagement. I still think it might be a little, you're going to see some improvements, but you could also turn some customers off as well.
Right. I think I agree with you. I think I'd be a little bit freaked out if I put a request in through the internet and then they track me down on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be. I don't know. Chris, good luck with that. Okay, I do want to share something that Kathleen wrote in. She says, this was the first webinar I've attended where I thought my entire dealership needs to see this. Thank you so much, and I'm very much looking forward to the upload for the rest of my team. Cheers from St. James, MO. So thank you so much for that, Kathleen.
I'm absolutely honored. I thank you for that. I really, really appreciate truthfully, I really do appreciate that comment. Eliana had to beg me for several months to do one of these webinars because I hate hearing myself speak, and not just because I have some phone sex operator voice that sounds like I have a 2-pack-a-day habit, but just because I think I just ramble. I never went over this presentation, so you know. I sent it to her and I told her I didn't, and I told her I didn't beforehand, but I just sort of...
And I still let him on. Can you believe it?
Yeah, sorry. But I really do thank you for that comment. I do believe that internet sales, while it should obviously be a department, the reason it should be a department is because too many people from outside the department don't really understand what the heck is going on back there all day long. And if they knew more, they could work more and accomplish more together. But it takes a long time to get every single department on the same page to communicating with customers the way they deserve to be communicated with.
I have to say, I think it's a completely different way of selling from, you know, sitting in the showroom waiting for somebody to come in. I mean, it's a totally different way of selling. So those heroes in the BDC.
I just think it's very similar.
Yeah, no, seriously. Totally seriously.
I honestly do think it's similar. It's similar. It's just it's just different mediums.
Well, people are writing into me. My goodness, you can't just stop. My gosh. Okay, Kelly wrote in. Joe only went over in Vegas by an hour.
I will stay on as long as you need me. Absolutely. I mean, I've got a... No, I shouldn't say that. That's funny. No. Go ahead.
Okay, always great info and insight from Joe. Links to some of his references under the pound L2AS on Twitter. Thank you very much for that. Katie wrote in, thank you, Eliana, for begging Joe and attending. Great job, folks. And I have to agree, Joe, it was worth the wait. I only wanted you on here like back in August or something, but if I had to wait till December, it was definitely worth the wait. And I hope that you'll consider doing another one with us very soon. Will you? Crickets? Hello?
I don't know. I don't really know much. So, like I said everything I already know. So it would just be me like doing hopscotch if it's
Oh, really? Well, because I don't think so, because Lori wrote in, super webinar. Thank you, Joe and Eliana. Rose wrote in, thank you for another informative webinar. Karen wrote in, thank you for this great webinar. You're the best. Miss working with you, and I do wish you an early happy birthday from Karen Tovar. Take care, and we'll keep in touch.
Karen rocks. Yeah, I mean, and so you guys know, something, if you really did enjoy this webinar, and KPA is kicking my ass on the driving sales vendor ratings page, even though they give webinars, for some reason they're listed as internet trainers. So I'm sure she's going to direct you to leave a review for KPA webinars. But I urge you, my name is there too. So if you go to leave a review for her for KPA webinars, go down like 19 notches.
You mean dealer on webinars? We don't want KPA webinars. We dealer on webinars.
Dealer on. Oh, no, sorry, then go to dealer on. Yeah, I'm going to ask you by webinars. Can you believe that? Hey, webinars. But go on to the driving sales vendor ratings thing and give me a boost for this webinar then for the ratings, because I'm getting my ass kicked by people who don't even do training, which makes no sense to me.
No sense at all. And you know what? We're going to have a short survey that's going to come to you in mere moments after we close out this webinar. Please fill it out. We're always looking for great feedback from you. And we're also going to randomly select some winners from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And don't forget, this webinar was all recorded in all of its glory. It's going to be emailed to you today for your reference. Please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And today's webinar is also going to be posted online very shortly. All you have to do is go to dealeron.com/webinars, and there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule and access any of our past webinars too. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our very last webinar of 2012. How to rock the new year. Trends to take advantage of in 2013. David Kane is going to outline the biggest marketing trends expected to impact our new year and share how dealerships can best address them to effectively engage with today's empowered buyer. He will set us on the path for a new year filled with exciting innovations and marketing trends that are sure to make a huge difference to you and your bottom line. So if you want to rock 2013 with cutting-edge marketing strategies, increased sales, and all-around automotive awesomeness, then you don't want to miss the last Dealer On webinar of 2012. There's going to be prizes and surprises galore, so don't forget, Dealer On's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. If you have any questions, get in touch with me, Eliana at dealeron.com. I'm also on every automotive network that's out there, including Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. And I want to thank you all so very much for spending this great hour and 49 minutes with us today. We hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a great one, and we'll check you later.